Okay. Then what we do is, and notice here it was x minus 3 and this was a 3. What do you think I would put here if it was x plus 3? Negative 3. What this allows me to do is, in a second, we're going to, instead of this subtraction, we're going to be using division. Synthetic division, we're going to be using addition, sorry. Synthetic division lets us add down, which is a little bit nicer than subtracting. Then what I do is, in order, I just list the coefficients, and we have to be careful, because if there were any missing terms, like, do you see how there's an x cubed, and then there's an x squared, and then there's an x, and then there's a constant? Let's say there was an x cubed and there was an x squared and there wasn't an x squared there. We would need to hold that spot with a 0. So just be careful if there's missing terms that we hold the spot. And there's not. So I write a 2, I write a negative 3, I write a negative 5, I write a negative 12, leave some space, and put a bar below there. Okay, so what happens then is, and I'm going to write, we're going to be adding here, okay? We have to start the problem by dropping down the first thing. So I dropped it down, the first number 2 below the line. What we then do is anything that is below the line, we multiply by what's in the box. So 2 times 3 gives me a 6, and then I put it in the next spot. So I'm going to put it right here. Now we use addition again. So negative 3 plus 6. What would go below the line? 3. And now what do I do with that number? Multiply by what's in the box, which is 9. Put it in the next spot. Okay, what do we have now? 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Negative 12 plus 12 is 0. Okay. Sometimes people will ask me then, how do I know what powers or degrees to put on the polynomial then? Well, I took an x cubed and I divided it by an x. Think about that. If I take something x cubed and I divide by x, in general, isn't going to start with an x squared? So then I would rewrite this as 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. Isn't that what I got up there when I divided those two? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to have you guys try one in a second on your own just to make sure. But before we do that, would you guys get out your graphing calculators a second? Because I want to pull together what I was just talking about. Would you graph what's underneath on your graphing calculator, please? Uh-oh. No, it's right here. Okay, so remember how we got a remainder of 0 when we divided? And so I said what that means was x minus 3 was a factor. In other words, this up here factors into x minus 3 times this. That's what that means, because I got a remainder of 0. Do you guys see where this crosses the x-axis? At 3. Think about what we did on the board earlier. Remember when we have factors, don't we know what the zeros are? Okay, so because x minus 3 had a remainder of 0 when I divided, I know it's a factor, therefore I also know it's a 0. Is there, what's going on, guys? You have something different than me? No? Yes? I'm graphing the original because I wanted to show that if I found x minus 3 was a factor, that it's gonna have a 0 of 3. Okay. Would you guys try one for me, please? On your own. Just make sure you got it. Would you divide x cubed plus 4x squared plus 7x minus 9 by x plus 3, please? And you can use synthetic division.